Welcome back to XRP Insider, your trusted source for the latest XRP news, market insights, and real-time updates. Today we're diving into some major developments that are quietly shaping the future of XRP. And trust me, this is one of those moments where small movements could signal something much bigger behind the scenes. As of May 3rd, 2026, XRP is trading right around the 139 to 140 range, showing a surprisingly stable position despite the volatility we've been seeing across the broader crypto market. Now, on the surface, this might look like a calm phase, but when you zoom in just a little bit, you start noticing some very interesting signals, especially when it comes to whale activity and Ripple's internal token movements, and that's exactly what we're going to break down for you today in a way that actually makes sense. So let's start with the price action, because that's where most people focus first. XRP has recently experienced a slight dip of around 3%, slipping just below that 1.40 level. And right now it's consolidating in a tight range between 1.35 and 1.40 bus. Now this kind of sideways movement usually tells us one thing. The market is waiting. It's not panicking, it's not rushing upward, it's just waiting for the next big catalyst. And this phase can be very important because historically consolidation zones like this often come right before a breakout or a breakdown. The key question is, which direction is XRP preparing for? And that's where the rest of the data becomes extremely important. Now here's where things get really interesting. We've seen a massive whale movement recently. Nearly 90 million XRP tokens were transferred to Coinbase. And whenever you hear something like that, you have to pause for a second, because large transfers to exchanges often raise concerns about potential selling pressure. It doesn't always mean a sell-off is coming, but it definitely increases the possibility. Whales don't move that kind of volume without a reason. Sometimes it's for liquidity, sometimes it's for rebalancing portfolios, and sometimes, yes, it's for taking profits. But the timing here matters, especially since XRP is sitting right at a key support level, which makes this move even more significant. At the same time, Ripple has made another strategic move that's equally important but often misunderstood. At the beginning of the month, they released 1 billion XRP as part of their regular schedule, but shortly after, they relocked 700 million tokens back into escrow. That means only 300 million XRP remains in circulation for operational use. Now, this is actually a strong signal of controlled supply management. Instead of flooding the market, Ripple is showing restraint, which helps maintain price stability over time. This kind of behavior is often seen as bullish in the long term because it reduces unnecessary selling pressure and keeps the ecosystem balanced. When you combine these two factors, large whale transfers and controlled token supply, you start to see a bigger picture forming. On one side, there's potential short-term uncertainty due to exchange inflows, and on the other side, there's long-term stability being reinforced by Ripple's strategy. This creates a very interesting tension in the market, where traders are trying to figure out whether to be cautious or optimistic. And honestly, this is where smart money usually starts positioning itself quietly, while retail investors are still trying to understand what's happening. Beyond just price and whales, we also have to talk about Ripple's expanding ecosystem, because this is something that's not getting enough attention. Ripple is no longer just focused on XRP as a digital asset. They're building an entire financial infrastructure around it. One of the biggest developments right now is their RLUSD stablecoin, which is designed to bring more utility and stability into the ecosystem. On top of that, Ripple is pushing forward with custody services, targeting institutional investors who are looking for secure ways to manage digital assets. This shift from a single token focus to a full ecosystem approach is a major step forward. And when institutions start getting involved, the entire game changes. Retail traders move fast, but institutions move big. They bring liquidity, credibility, and long-term commitment. And if Ripple successfully integrates its stablecoin and custody solutions into the broader financial system, XRP could benefit indirectly through increased adoption and use cases. This is not something that happens overnight, but it's definitely something that builds momentum over time, and we're already starting to see the early signs of that shift. Another important factor that we can't ignore is the community itself. The recent XRP Las Vegas event showed just how strong and active the XRP community still is. High attendance, high energy, and a lot of engagement from both developers and investors. And in crypto, community matters more than most people realize. A strong community keeps the conversation alive, drives adoption, and supports the ecosystem even during slow phases. XRP has managed to maintain one of the most loyal communities in the space, and that's a powerful asset that doesn't show up on price charts. Now let's talk about sentiment, because this is where things get a little emotional. Some traders are worried about the recent dip, especially with XRP slipping below 1.40. Others are seeing this as an opportunity, a chance to accumulate before a potential move upward. And honestly, both perspectives have valid points. The market right now is not giving clear signals, and that's exactly why it feels uncertain. But if you look at the bigger picture, XRP is still holding a key support zone, and that's something you don't want to ignore. What makes this situation even more interesting is the broader crypto market context. While some altcoins are making sudden moves, XRP has remained relatively stable, almost like it's conserving energy. And sometimes, stability is more powerful than hype. It shows resilience. It shows that the asset is not easily shaken by short-term noise. And when the time comes for a breakout, assets that have been consolidating quietly often move the strongest. There's also growing speculation around future developments, including potential partnerships and increased institutional interest. While nothing is officially confirmed at this moment, the direction Ripple is moving in suggests that they are positioning themselves for long-term growth rather than short-term gains. And that's a strategy that tends to pay off over time, even if it doesn't create immediate excitement in the market. At the same time, traders are closely watching key price levels. The $1.35 support zone is currently acting as a safety net, while the $1.40 level is acting as a resistance point. If XRP manages to break above this range with strong volume, it could open the door for a new upward trend. But if it drops below support, we could see a deeper correction. So right now, the market is essentially at a crossroads, waiting for a clear direction. And this is where patience becomes very important. In moments like these, it's easy to get caught up in emotions, to react to every small movement. But experienced investors know that consolidation phases are part of the process. They're not the end of the story. They're just the setup for what comes next. And the ones who stay calm during these phases are usually the ones who benefit the most when the market finally moves. Looking ahead, the combination of whale activity, Ripple's strategic decisions, and ecosystem growth creates a very unique situation for XRP. It's not just about price anymore. It's about positioning, adoption, and long-term vision. And while short-term movements can be unpredictable, the foundation being built right now could play a major role in XRP's future performance. So if you're watching XRP closely, this is not the time to panic or get overly excited. This is the time to observe, to understand the signals, and to stay informed. Because sometimes, the most important moments in the market are the quiet ones, the ones where everything looks stable on the surface, but major shifts are happening underneath. And that's exactly where we are right now with XRP. A stable price, strong support levels, significant whale movements, controlled supply, and an expanding ecosystem. All of these pieces are coming together. And while we don't have all the answers yet, one thing is clear. Something is building. As always, remember that the cryptocurrency market is highly volatile and nothing is guaranteed. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions, and never rely on a single source of information. But if you stay informed, stay patient, and keep a long-term perspective, you'll be in a much better position to navigate whatever comes next. That's all for today on XRP Insider. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and we'll see you in the next update.